So I just want to start off by saying that it really is just a testament to how much you can get done and how popular something can be based off your already existing audience. As far as I know, Markiplier's Iron Lung has made a ton of money already, and it's already made multiple times more than what the budget for the movie was. And I think that's really great. Most because I really enjoyed the movie anyway. I give it a 3.5 on Letterboxd. Only because there was one part in the movie where I genuinely started getting kinda bored at one point. The movie is 2 hours and 9 minutes long, and I think it would've been okay to cut about 9 minutes of footage out of it, honestly, but besides that, I thought everything was great. I thought the set design was great, I thought the camera work and cinematography was great. The soundtrack was awesome. I think Markiplier's got some pretty good acting chops, which he's already done some stuff for YouTube in the past, but that's been kinda a lot more comedic stuff. But I think he has a pretty decent I think he does a pretty good job in doing something more serious. And I've watched Markiplier for years, and I've seen him play this game, so I know some of the lore, and I just knew some of the lore anyway before going in. So for someone like me, I can see why I've really enjoyed it. And I know some people are kind of confused with it because they don't know the lore and stuff like that, which I kind of like that it doesn't explain everything because I feel like movies nowadays just handhold you during the whole process of the movie and take half the runtime just to explain backstory that we'll never see. But I think it could have been a little shorter. But besides that, that's really my only complaint. I lost my train of thought. So if you don't know, Iron Lung is based off a indie game that came out in 2022, I think. I can't think of who made the game. Anyway, Markiplier played it on his channel back when it come out, and he got really into it. And as more updates for the game come out, the more he played. Like there's a lore update, and there's an update that has like different cheats to the game. And even the developer of the game added a little Easter egg in there to where one of the cheats turns your whole ship into just a bunch of pictures of Markiplier's face, which is pretty funny. And Markiplier's really got into the story and the lore of the game, obviously to the point he wanted to make a movie about it. So I don't know a lot of the backstory on how the film even come about or how he even got the idea to make a film about it besides it's just Markiplier's passion project in a sense. I do know that it was all filmed on set inside of a big, large rig that was the interior of the sub in the movie, and it would move and jerk around, everything else like that. And I do believe it's also broken the record for the most fake blood in a movie ever. I think It Chapter 2 had that record beforehand. But also, the movie's just dominated the box office this weekend, which is kind of crazy. It's beat pretty much every movie that's come out this weekend, except for maybe the new Sam Raimi movie. I think it might have overtaken it by now. I don't know. The list that Markiplier looked at took the movie off the list after the first day, so he doesn't really know where it's at money wise and weekend wise. But I'm sure it's still doing very, very well, as I would expect. Our theater, we had a 350 matinee, and it was probably 3/4 of the theater full pretty early in the afternoon. I would say. My wife is agreeing with me over here. And so I can only imagine what it was like at the 7 o'clock and 9 o'clock showings. I think even the 12 o'clock showing that day had quite a bit of pre-sold tickets already at my local, locally owned theater. And so we don't have AMC or Cinemark or Regal near us. The closest ones are an hour away. So we only have one theater that's like within an hour of us. And their pre-sold tickets were already either halfway gone or almost halfway gone on their website. So I think that's just crazy how popular it is in my area. That's fairly rural, but I think I forgot about my thumbnail title. I guess I'll get into that. So there's been other movies made by YouTubers. I'm sure we know some of them and how bad they all were. And I'm gonna go out on a limb and say this is the first actually good movie made by a YouTuber because it's made by a person that actually cared and didn't just care about making the money. I think Markiplier said before he has a whole lot more money than he knows what to do with at this point. So at this point, this was just him self-financing, writing, directing, and acting in a passion project, and he just wanted everybody to see it. And I 3.5. I'd I probably could go in there and actually change it. I think I'd give it a 4. I don't think it deserves a star and a half off just for losing my interest for 5 minutes out of the whole thing. Even my wife liked it, which I found odd. She usually isn't into stuff like that sometimes, especially with all the eldritch horror and cosmic horror and the kind of, what's the word I'm looking for here? Not the very traditional storytelling of a movie that kinda walks you through everything. But, it c I will say the camera work, it could have turned up the brightness in some scenes because it was really hard to tell what was going on in a dark theater. But because of that, I jumped several times because Markiplier's face would come out of nowhere and scare the piss out of me. I think at least twice, the way the shot was and how dark it was. All I saw was a silhouette of a face coming towards the screen, and it genuinely scared the piss out of me until I realized it was Markiplier's character. I was like, "Oh." I will say that one scene, though, where he turns around and is this big mass or whatever slides behind that little wall in the sub, that did scare the piss out of me. I thought the creature design was pretty good too, because if you've played the game or seen him play the game, the creature kind of looks like an anglerfish in a sense, the way his mouth and everything's shaped. But I like how the creature in the movie looks similar towards a Cthulhu type creature, a very eldritch horror type creature. The way it looks and the way it messes with the character's mind and everything. Thought that was pretty. Thought that was pretty cool creature design. There's some pretty good claustrophobic moments in this movie, especially at the end. I'm not gonna go into it because spoiler, I guess, if you've not seen it and the movie's just come out. But I really don't want to spoil nothing. Now, if it was like some of the other movies I've talked about, they're like 20, 30, 40 years old. I'll just tell you what happened. But go watch it for yourself if you're even interested. Go support Markiplier and the movie. Maybe we'll get more movies from Markiplier. I think that'd just be good for everybody if we got more from him, or even just him and more movies. Most people's complaint I've seen is that the dialogue's kind of weird and sometimes or really quiet, and I have to agree. I do remember a couple times where I'm like, I don't really know what they're saying. Not quite like Christopher Nolan don't know what they're saying, where it's intentional. I think this is more of a unintentional, was supposed to know what they're saying, but don't know what they're saying. I thought the part was very interesting where the voice came over the comms that was talking to Markiplier's character. That wasn't the, I guess, the warden lady. I don't really know. I don't remember what exactly she is to him. Oh, she's the captain. That's what it was. That wasn't the captain, but like the voice of one of the researchers in a different spoiler. Not going to finish that sentence. Is a different character in the movie, but her voice is used to mess with Markiplier's mind in the movie. And there's a couple scenes where it's just WTF is going on. This is crazy. There's a ton of blood or a ton of fake blood. What is that? Why does it look like that? There's a lot of different scenes and things in this movie that just have you not really confused, but just kind of. I was in awe of most of it, honestly, because it was a lot happening at one time. So it was just taking it all in and everything. I do wish they would have recreated some more of the pictures from the game into the movie. If you've seen him play the game or play the game yourself, there's several of the pictures that are, I guess, iconic to the game, like the eye picture and everything. They do recreate that in the movie, just not exactly the same. They do it a little differently. And but weird tubes and building under the ground and everything, they don't recreate that in the movie as far as I remember. Several of the pictures they don't really recreate in the movie, and I wish they would have. But I get where Markiplier is wanting to go with this, changing it up a little bit. I think that's about everything I have to say about it without spoiling the ending or anything. But if you are iffy on going to watch this, you definitely need to go watch it if you're iffy, because it's worth your time, I think. Unless you just don't have a good time. I've seen a couple really stupid reviews where someone just seems like they're unhappy about everything and anything. So if you're like that, then don't watch it because then you won't have a good time because you're just gonna make yourself not have a good time and ruin it for everybody else. Speaking of reviews, I want to talk about some of the stupid reviews of this movie. IGN gave this a 4 out of 10, which we all know how IGN is on reviews on anything. If it's good, they rated it low. If it's bad, they're going to rate it mid. And if it's really, really good, they might rate it good. Because, of course, they're going to rate Oppenheimer 10 out of 10, obviously. But they rate this at a 4 out of 10. Really? I understand it's got its problems, but they're not a 4 out of 10 bad problems. I'd give it a 4 out of 5 right now in my reconsidering of my rating a day later. So I just find that a little ridiculous from IGN, which we all know how IGN is. And I think it also has 50% on Rotten Tomatoes right now, critic review, which I find crazy as well. Because it's got 50% on Rotten Tomatoes with an 89% popcorn meter, which I would say that's more closely to how the movie actually would be. So we can look at IMDb too real quick. I think it's rated a little higher on IMDb. Of course, it's not on the front page. I'm gonna have to actually look it up. Yeah, it's got a 6.7 out of 10 on IMDb. I'd say that's a little closer to fair, honestly. I'd probably round it up to a 7 out of 10 if I was rating it out of 10. So I think that's pretty fair. I really do. And I will say I was a little worried though when I saw the final trailer. I was a little worried about how some of the camera work and stuff would look. But in practice and seeing the film, there's some really cool shots. And whoever he had do the cinematography was very competent in their job, I would say. And should definitely work for Markiplier again. But I think even Moist Critical said that he liked the movie pretty well, except for the dialogue and stuff. Most everybody that's seen it, that's actually like on popular people on YouTube or whatever, competent, fairly confident people say they like it. Now, there's some people on YouTube I subscribe to and everything that like call it a snooze fest, and after seeing it, I'm kind of like, did you even watch the movie, dog? Did you go watch the correct movie? Because there's a certain other movie this weekend that is doing very poorly, assumingly so, based off what it's about. And so I think I think that would be the snooze fest out of the two movies. But I'm not going to name drop that because I feel like I'd get this video taken down if I even said the name of said movie. But anyway, I'll quit rambling on how everyone's bullcrapping and how some people aren't, and those some people that aren't are the correct ones. Now, it's not a 5 out of 5 or a 10 out of 10. It's his first film ever, first feature film, self-written, self-directed, self-acted. And you can tell it's an independent film done independently. And the fact that it's even got in over 4,000 theaters is an achievement already. I don't think it's going to make more. Well, I don't know. This might end up being the most successful independent film ever. I was gonna say Terrifier 3, but it's not technically independent. It was just unrated. It has its own distributor and everything. But anyway, I'm gonna quit rambling. But go watch this movie if you haven't. If you even wanted to go watch it anyway, go watch it. But besides that, hope you enjoyed the video at least a little bit. And I'll see you tomorrow.